Can you pronounce these 10 words that are difficult to say in English? By the end of this video lesson, you're going to know how. Welcome to English Coach 3Ts. If we haven't met before, my name is Tanya, and I'm the creator of my free More English Club so that you can learn more when you watch these videos. If you'd like to join this free club, just click on the link in the description for the More English Club. Today, I'm going to show you how you can pronounce these 10 difficult words. These words come up as difficult words to pronounce with students, and I've been working with them for years. Today, I'm going to give you some hints on how you can pronounce them, and the way I'm going to show you is probably a little different than what you have seen in the past. So let's go ahead and get started. Number one is sixth. And my first tip for all these words is, even though you're going to see the word here on the screen, don't look at it when you're trying to pronounce it. This one's not so bad, but some of the others, it's the way it looks that makes it difficult to pronounce. The difficulty in this one is that X followed by a TH. So let's practice that TH sound. We're going to say, you need to be able to see your tongue sticking out a little. And I know this can be a little uncomfortable, especially if your language doesn't have this sound and it feels weird to stick your tongue out, but it's very common in English. So you just stick your tongue out a very little bit and you have your teeth on the top and bottom touching your tongue like this. And then for this particular TH sound, you're just going to push air out of your mouth. Now, if you can say the word six, like the number 6, you're going to say the number 6 and then add this TH sound so that you get 6. In this example, even though The Art of Hearing Heartbeats is 6th on this list, it's one of my top 3 favorite books. I suggest practice saying the word in parts and then all together, 6, then 6th. Then pause the video and say this sentence. All of the sentences and examples I give you today will be in the free document you get in the free More English Club. So remember to click that link below and sign up. The second word on our list today is one of those you do not want to look at when you're trying to pronounce it. The word is February. And one of the things that makes this difficult is that it has that R that you will sometimes hear pronounced like February, but it's much more common to hear it pronounced February. So that's the one we're going to practice today. So we're going to start with the first syllable, Feb, and then we're going to move to that Febya. Where is this W coming from, Tanya? This is one of those things that makes English pronunciation difficult, is that a lot of times you hear a sound that you don't see in the word the way it's spelled. So without looking at it, let's piece this word together. February. February is the second month of the year, and we celebrate Valentine's Day in the United States during this month. Same as before, practice this word in parts, put the word together, and then work on putting it in an example sentence. Let's move on to word number 3, rural. A rural area is kind of the opposite of a city area. The rural area is where there is a lot of nature. I live here in the mountains of Southern California, and this is a rural area even though I live in a small town. In other rural areas, you'll see farms and lots of open space. So let's try this word, rural. A lot of different things make this word tricky depending on where you're from and what your native language is. But just allow yourself plenty of time and patience to practice. Rural. So we have two R sounds. Roll. Roll. And it's really tricky because we have that L sound with it. But don't worry, with a little bit of practice, you'll get it. And I would recommend that you not listen to some of the technical descriptions of how to pronounce this word. Sometimes there are linguists and even teachers who have had a lot of training in how to describe pronunciation, and that can make it even more tricky because the descriptions are confusing. Just work on making this sound. Rrr. Look at my lips. Rrr. Rrr. My tongue is up at the top of my mouth. If this is my tongue and this is the top of my mouth, my tongue is at the top. Rrr. Rural. Look how my mouth and tongue looks at the end. Rural. I think that just looking and seeing and practicing is really going to help you with this particular word. The example that you're going to want to use when you get used to saying it is, I grew up in rural Nebraska. Or you could say, Tanya grew up in rural Nebraska. You may have seen other videos about my life as a young person on a farm. I'll link them below and above so you can watch those too. Number 4 is that little animal you sometimes see running around and climbing the trees. It's a squirrel. Squirrel. Again, we're going to break this word down into parts. To break down is a great phrasal verb that means to make it into parts or pieces. So for this word, squirrel, we have 2 parts. The challenging part of the beginning is that SKW sound, squa, squa. So just practice this part, squa. In fact, another tip that I have for you is for any of the words that are the most difficult for you, practice the part that is difficult or practice each of the parts until those feel a little more natural. So we're going to have this first part, squa, and we're going to combine it with rural, rural, a lot like the end of the last word. Squirrel, squirrel. Once you get rural, the second half of squirrel is already done. You just need to put them together. The example you can use to practice this word is, I love to sit outside and watch the squirrel that lives in this tree. Number 5, specific. I think that one of the reasons this word is difficult is that it's easy to get the sounds in different orders. So we need to practice saying them in the correct order so that we will remember to do that when we need to say it in a conversation. The key to practicing words that are difficult to pronounce is hearing them often and then using them in examples so that you get used to saying them with other words. So this word, specific, practice this sound, sp, specific, specific, specific. The example you can use for this word is, could you be more specific? Do you want the ones with the red handle or the white handle? Number 6 is a great word, entrepreneur. This is just somebody who is not employed by a company or another person, but rather they have their own business. You could say that I am an entrepreneur. The reason that this word is a little tricky for people learning English is that it comes from a French word. So now not only are you learning English sounds, but also French sounds. So again, it doesn't sound like it looks according to English pronunciation. This word is pronounced entrepreneur. So entrepreneur. You can hear some other words in this word, like the word new. If you have trouble with that end of the word, remember it's got the word new. Entrepreneur. Okay, so the first part is like the word on. I'm sitting on this chair. Entrepreneur. There's that word new. Entrepreneur. The example you can practice could be teacher Tanya is an entrepreneur. Or even better, if you are an entrepreneur or you know someone that is an entrepreneur, use their name. For example, my sister is an entrepreneur, but be sure to say her name. This helps your brain to understand, oh, we know that person. This is important to remember. For this next word, I'm going to start with a word I'm pretty sure you can say, and that is the word wire. This is wire. It's not so difficult to say wire. It's a little tricky, but by itself, wire is not as difficult as the next word, which is choir. Choir. If you sing with a group of people in a church or a concert hall or maybe at your school, you sing in a choir. So we just have to put the word wire with that K sound on the beginning. Again, don't look at the spelling. We're going to say k, wire, k, wire, choir, choir. You can practice breaking this word up, and then the example that you're going to want to try is, I love to go and hear the choir sing. The 8th word on our list today is probably the one I help students with the most often, partly because it looks so different than the way it sounds, and also because it is such a common word, a word that we use all the time. The word is comfortable. Don't look at your screen for how that is spelled. This word only has 3 syllables, even though it looks like 4. The 3 syllables are comfortable. I often hear comfortable. It totally looks like that. So if you're noticing yourself making the sounds of 4 syllables, you want to make it into 3. The trick to this is to put that F sound with the first syllable. So now you can look at the screen because I'm going to show you what it might look like if English spelling weren't so weird. The first syllable is comf, comf, ter, bull, comfortable, comfortable, comfortable. And one example could be, my couch is a comfortable place to take an afternoon nap. Great job, you've made it through 8 words and we only have 2 more to go. The next word is temperature, temperature. And it's another one that looks different than it sounds. And especially if you hear people say the second pronunciation, temperature. This is the way that I say it, but the first and most common way to say this word is temperature. Temperature. Don't look at it on the screen. Just practice saying it. Temperature. We find the temperature of ourself, the outside temperature, or the inside temperature with a thermometer. Here you can see 3 different thermometers telling the temperature. In this last picture, you can see me taking my own temperature. So let's use that one as our example. If I think I am sick, I take my temperature. All right, let's finish with this 10th word, mischievous. Mischievous. Someone or something that is mischievous is doing something that might be causing problems, troubles, or maybe it's a little bit annoying. You will often hear this word connected to a cartoon from long ago, a little boy named Dennis the Menace. That was the name of the cartoon. He was mischievous. Let's practice saying the word in the most common way, and then I will tell you the way I say it, which is actually the second pronunciation. So again, don't look at the spelling. Practice the sounds. Mischievous. 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 An example you could use for this pronunciation is, the little boy is mischievous. Now for me, that sounds a little strange because, like I said, I grew up in rural Nebraska where we said mischievous. If you want to practice the word mischievous the way that I say it, here's an example that includes my cat Pippa, who can be very mischievous. Pippa is a mischievous cat who wants to know where that Christmas tree came from. Yes, that's the other thing that can make pronunciation tricky, is that different people who speak the exact same language, different ways of pronouncing the same word. So either mischievous or mischievous is correct. If you still want some help with how you can practice these words, remember what they mean, and pronounce them, be sure to click the link for the free More English Club, and I'll be sure to send you some more help. And since I know your goal is to be more fluent, I recommend that you watch this video next so that you can learn more vocabulary with a story. I'll see you there.